Hey there, boils and ghouls. Welcome to another episode of Halloweekly. Nick Rollins here with
George Ely.
And we're back with another episode of How Low Can We Go with number 43 with
Jennifer's Body.
Jennifer's Body. And for those who don't know how low can we go, we start at 59% on Rotten Tomatoes and work our way down 1 percentage point at a time until we hit 0.
Or give up.
Until we give up.
Right. If the movie's good.
And this didn't do it for it. This did not make us give up.
No, so at 44% last week we reviewed Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which you pointed out was more comedy than horror in the categorization, right?
Yeah.
And by a weird coincidence, we're watching Jennifer's Body, which is comedy horror again.
Yeah.
And you and I have not seen this movie.
This was our first time watching. We watched the unrated edition, so I don't know what we got more out of this one.
We got more one-liners, I'm assuming.
Yeah, more one-liners, probably.
No,
like
sure.
You know.
But I was pleasantly surprised. I really liked this.
I really liked it too. I didn't think I was gonna like it.
Right.
Because it started off with like the late 2000s like emo scene music, and I was like, holy fuck, it's gonna be nothing but wall to wall.
It's gonna be a rough ride. Yep.
Yeah, like fucking Fall Out Boy style of music, and I was like, oh, gee, that's not really my jam. And that wasn't the case. It was actually pretty funny.
No, I had a feeling I was going to like it from the start because I like horror movies that do something different or try to do something different, right? So this movie right off the jump is narrated by a female. Mm-hmm. So watch this. Just off the top of your head, real quick, name 2 other horror movies narrated by a female.
Easy.
Go.
I don't know.
Right?
Well, it's not a horror film, but The Lovely Bones.
That's not horror, right? Exactly.
That's not horror.
Right. So, like in Evil Dead, you follow like Mia through, but she's not narrating it, right? This is like told from the point of view of a female character, which you almost never get in horror movies, right? The only one that jumped into my head was Alien isn't narrated by Ripley, but she does that voiceover at the end where she's like signing off from the Nostromo. Mm-hmm. That's the closest that could come in my head, right? So like this is pretty cool because I already knew I was getting into something that was going to be different than most of the horror movies I saw, right? So I was excited right off the bat there. And then as the movie started progressing, I was like, what kind of movie am I watching? Like I knew it was comedy horror, but then all of a sudden I was like, am I watching a slasher film? And then something happened. I'm like, am I watching a demonic possession film? And then something happened. I'm like, am I watching a zombie film? Right?
Yeah.
Like it was really mixing in a whole bunch of elements from other genres, which I thought was really cool.
I didn't know what to expect. I vaguely remember some of the marketing for like when the film came out, and I thought it was going to be kind of like a monster film almost. Like
like The Faculty.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
Like Megan Fox's character. Jennifer was just going to be like going around just eating dudes fucking left and right. And that wasn't really the case. It was like more, I mean, that happened.
No, it wasn't. But that was the horror element of it. But there was a lot of kind of cool friendship, relationship stuff. There were tons of funny characters. And
there's so many funny moments.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, it's a really quotable movie, but I wasn't ready for how many actual like funny set pieces there were. Right. And then, as it was getting funny, horror comedy is one of my least favorite genres, to be honest. So, like, if that's even a genre, I don't know.
It's
categorization, right? But I was like, the funnier it got, I was like, am I going to get away from a horror movie? And every time it did that, it snatched me back and had a great kill scene. The kill scenes in this movie are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Not only that, but a lot of the shots in it too.
Yeah, the shots. What are some?
That was some of our. A lot of the the prison in the beginning was shot really well too. I liked
totally.
It starts off with that, which I thought was shot really nice. But anytime like they were outside and they were like surrounded by trees or something like that always looked cool.
Yep.
Or like just jumping towards the end when
Megan Fox appears behind Chip.
That shot was cool, and then immediately after that when Needy was running towared. What building was that? It was just like a
some abandoned like swimming pool.
Yeah, like that shot looked really cool too.
Yeah, that was really cool. I was telling you while we were watching it, like I kept getting this weird reverse Little Red Riding Hood feeling from this thing.
Yeah,
and there were like some really gothic looking shots, even though it was sort of modern. I thought that stuff was pretty cool. And then chronologically, like, so here, like the kill scenes are, the first kill scene I think is the football captain, right?
Yeah. Well, the
not
first,
chronologically, but the first one we see. So the movie
first kill
jumps
scene
back and forth
actually.
in time.
Well, it does it once in the beginning. Like it shows you the end, then starts from the back.
Right.
But technically, the first kill scene's the bar. People dying in the bar.
Right. True.
Which was actually really funny.
Yeah, that was great because we're introduced to Low Shoulder, who are the most hateable band in the history of horror movies.
Who are Satanists who kill Jennifer.
Yes.
Even their lines during that came later in the film.
Yeah, well, that's another kill scene to get to. So the bar kill scene is pretty amazing. That it got a little weak to me, like, because like there are people literally in flames behind Amanda Seyfried and Megan Fox when they escape, and Amanda Seyfried's like, "Let's go to Taco Bell and get some burritos."
Yeah, no, she said, "Let's go somewhere. We'll get like the extra butter sauce or something like that."
Right, and there's literally like people trying to roll around on the ground behind them to extinguish themselves from the. I was like, that is weird. Like that's not how that goes down at all, right? But anyway, that was pretty amazing. But then the band killing, like, what'd you think of that whole sequence? Like, I thought that was amazing.
The band
when the bandit kills Jennifer,
it made them sort of like likable jerks,
right?
Which is what I liked about it. They weren't just scummy to be scummy like how most horror films would do it. Like there was like some funny fucking dialogue in
Maroon
there.
5.
Yeah. He's like, when he says, hey, do you want to serve at the coffee place or be like Maroon 5? The guy goes Maroon 5. But even the dialogue before that, when he goes, they mention how it's like a waxing crescent or whatever the fuck moon it is.
Yes.
And then he pulls out like the witchcraft thing, goes like, I got this online.
Right, they were like so casual about it, but like it was interesting because their idea was, we're new disciples to Satan, so we have to impress him. Mm-hmm. So they had to be especially evil doing this.
Yeah.
So they were like psychologically torturing her, and I thought Megan Fox played it really well. She just seemed totally terrified.
Yeah.
And then there's that great fake out right at the end of the scene where they're menacing her with a knife, and then he's like, "You know what, Jenny, you're the girl for me. Jenny, I call you." And then they start singing the "Jenny, I Got Your Number" song, and then just knife her. And I'm like, oh, that was actually a really good head fake.
I really like. There was quite a good bit of fake outs in the film too, because there was one right when fucking Amanda Seyfried's character. It's Needy when Needy gets home, and it's that typical horror movie setup where she's home alone. She hears a knocking at the door, but they did a fake out there where she opened up the door and like they positioned the camera just like when she closes the door she'd be there, and then she wasn't. And that was a real subtle.
That was a
out.
Great, yeah. And then Jennifer was behind her, because then there was that great shot where you see the shadow moving in the background, and that's so. I mean, that whole sequence was, and that's the thing is, Diablo Cody, who wrote this, is actually a huge horror movie fan. And Karen Kusama, or however you say her name is
Kusama.
She directed The Invitation, which was one of my favorite horror movies of the last like 2 years, right? So, I just think there was a lot of talent going into this, and it surprised me that it was so low rated when we looked it up. I thought the kill scene with Colin was pretty phenomenal, because they put Colin in the emo kid ends up getting baited into that abandoned place by Jennifer, and you have this moment where it's cross-cutting between Jennifer and Colin making out and Needy and Chip making out. Mm-hmm. And I love when movies cross back and forth, like the most famous example of that is when they're cutting back and forth in The Godfather between all the assassinations that are happening, and then Michael sitting in the church, right? And so you have this cross-cutting between this really nice, wholesome couple making out, and then all the dark shit that's happening over there with Colin and Jennifer. And by the way, Colin, this character, like I almost want to like launch a horror contest. Like, he has the best resting sad face I've ever seen in a movie ever. His face when he's not trying looks like you just gave him the worst news anyone's ever gotten.
Constant.
It was amazing. That dude
constant state of bad news.
It was a perfect casting. But the way he took her down, and the way she was like starting to move more like a predator and less like a normal girl. And then the shit she was saying to him, like, I need you broken. I need you hopeless.
Yeah.
Like, I need you, that was pretty.
There's something like I need you fearful. Because then I think that was one of the lines in the left lower shoulder lyrics.
Fuck.
Because we watched the movie with the subtitles on.
Yeah.
I saw like they said something like about being fearful, and I was like, okay.
I'm sure they did. They were
It's all full circle now.
But actually, my favorite kill scene in this entire movie is the quietest, and it comes via a time loop because it's when she meets Ahmet coming out of the burning down bar. But you don't see that till the end of the movie because that's actually her first kill.
Yeah.
Because the bar thing literally just happened, and the survivors are wandering around. And I thought it was like authentically chilling. It took me by surprise that a movie that was this funny and kind of like this gimmicky and slick would reach like that emotional moment, because that was truly cold and barbaric. Like, this guy just escaped. He's one of the few lucky people to escape this burning down bar. He's wandering down the street, and he's, clearly out of place, dazed, shocked. And she's just like, does anyone know you're alive? Right. Does your family know? Does anyone know you're, and he's like, shakes his head no. And she's like, come with me. And just takes him down.
I did like that setup.
That was, and the way it was shot, like with the road and the
yeah, that was another one of those cool shots we were talking about.
So that was actually my favorite kill scene of the thing. Well, you loved Chip. You liked a lot of his lines.
All of his lines are so funny.
You loved the Bowflex.
Yeah. There was he was getting ready for the dance or homecoming or whatever the hell it was, and his mom hands him like this like pink pepper spray. He's like, I don't need like ladies pepper spray. He's like, I don't need ladies pepper spray, Mom. I've been working on the Bowflex. And I really, and he had there was the other line of him saying, he was so cheap. He's like, we gotta go. He's like, I got you this $12 orchid for the thing. Yeah, it was like $12, man.
So we got to go to the dance.
We got to go.
She was trying to cancel on the dance. He's like, we got to go. I spent $12 on an orchid.
You're not bailing on me at this point in time.
My favorite Chip line was, and this actually is something I wanted to bring up about the movie that I really, really liked. But my favorite Chip line was when he's having sex with Needy, and she's having a hallucination or a vision. So she's like gasping in fear, but he thinks he's like doing a good job having sex with her. And then she sees something scary and she screams out, and he's like, "Oh my God, am I hurting you?" And he looks really concerned, and then he's like, "Am I too big?" And he gets this little smile on his face. It was the perfect like dumbass high school
stupid thing to say.
But it was like a great like summation for that character of like where he's coming from. He's never gonna stay serious.
All of his lines were just so perfect.
One of the things I really, really like about this movie is there's a couple times, and I'm sure if I rewatch it, I would probably catch more. But there's a couple times where what's happening in reality is covering what's happening underneath. Mm-hmm. So the best example of that in this movie is there's the place burns down, Melody Lane, or whatever the bar is called, and everyone's sort of in shock. And J.K. Simmons, who is another amazing element in this movie, he is walking to his car in the school parking lot. And then in the woods, Jennifer is killing the football captain.
Yeah.
And the football captain is screaming in pain. And J.K. Simmons hears it, and he just looks up and he's like, "That's right, my dear kids. Let out the anguish. Just let it out." And that the tragedy, like what the school is going through, is covering up is making people misinterpret what they're hearing and seeing, right? Mm-hmm. So he thinks that there's just someone out there just like letting it out, like I'm so anguished by my friends dying, and he's like getting torn apart in front of like a Bambi spread of animals that gathered for something.
I loved how all the animals like gathered around. They're just like, what the fuck's going on over here?
Right, we're watching a hunting scene, and they don't like it. And then the Amanda Seyfried, the moment where she's having sex with Chip, it's the same thing. Like the sex is making him misinterpret what's happening with her.
She's
panicked and having like a realization that something really awful is happening. But the sounds she's making in the panic are like the sounds you make during sex. So he's like, so I mean, there was a few instances in the movie where people were misinterpreting what was happening, which I thought was a really cool feature of the movie that you don't see in a lot of, and I feel like it was pretty on purpose. So I like that. The movie's also super quotable. Like there was great.
There was a lot of
every
really
character
lines.
had really great like lines. And one of the things I thought was really cool was like, so, but we got to talk about the Megan Fox effect, right? Because I had said this halfway into this movie watching. I turned to Nick and I said, Megan Fox could have eaten her way through my entire high school. Like no one was saying no to her. Like, and no one was like paying attention to the fact that she was decaying or looked weird or looked like she hadn't slept in 4 years or whatever. But like Chip is hitting on her, not Chip. Colin is hitting on her, the emo dude. And she is giving the dumbest answers to the shit he says, and he's still hitting on her. Like clearly, you two are not a match. Like you should not be dating.
It's
but he doesn't care because it's Megan Fox, right? So like, but she's also beneath him. Like in terms of like Needy's smarter than Jennifer. Colin's smarter than Jennifer. Jennifer's not. She's cunning, but she's not that smart, right? So like. And that was like the best moment because what's to emo people, what's currency? It's like culture. Like I know songs, I know movies, I know like whatever, right? So he's like, I want to take you on a date. And Megan Fox is like, go ahead, what's your pitch? And he's like, well, go see Rocky Horror Picture Show. And she's like, I hate boxing movies. And under his breath, he's like, it's not a fucking boxing movie. But then she's like, all right, let's go on a date. He's like, really? Yeah, you just landed a date with someone who doesn't believe in anything that you believe in, and you don't care. Like that's right. Like
no,
yeah, right. It's just an amazing element. But everyone in the movie is quotable, which I thought was pretty fucking cool. What did you think was going on with Needy's like psychic flashes?
Yeah, I don't really know. Like they didn't really.
It wasn't explained, right?
No, it was just maybe like. The closest thing I think of, like, it's just a best friend's bond. I don't
yeah,
really
but
know.
That's weak, right? Like,
yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense because nothing happened to her unless she was just inherently psychic.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out. I don't know if it was something that got cut from the script or something that explained it got taken out because there were these moments. There was literally the moment at the end towards the end when Jennifer is making out with Needy's boyfriend. And when Jennifer's kissing her boyfriend, Needy reaches up and like brushes her lips with her fingers, like she's feeling what's happening.
Yeah.
But why? Like,
and it happened before.
You're right. It's like best friend bonds, but that would be like a twin movie. Like, that's the shit that happens to twins.
Yeah. There was no really like nothing was explained like with her mom, or maybe it was when the only other thing I think of is. When Jennifer came over for the first time and vomited like practically in her mouth.
Right.
Or something like that. I don't know.
Well,
like,
they had a weird blood bonding moment in the flashback in the sandbox.
That's right. She like licked her blood from her palm, but that was before she
to which your reaction was, ew, don't do that.
That's fucking gross. That's the shit that grosses me out most in horror films. Like not like people's heads getting chopped off, fucking
the exchange
blood
of like bodily fluids
out of your hand.
Right.
So, but she wasn't demented, or she was not demented, but didn't have a demon in her.
Yeah, I don't think it was explained right. I don't know if something got dropped from the script, or they just didn't really push that point, or they just needed it for the plot and they got lazy. I don't know, but that wasn't so much a big fan. The effect was cool. Like the way it was happening was shot well. It just didn't make fucking sense for the plot.
It just kind of was like, oh, the friend needs to know it's happening. So.
It felt kind of like dropped in. I loved, so for the How Low Can We Go series, the point is that critics generally underrate horror movies.
Yeah.
So they just assume because there's a couple of flaws in the movie that they don't like that the whole movie is like, just like is going to give you food poisoning somehow. And they don't want to eat it at all. So they just drop it and go, fuck, it's, D-, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm looking for when we're reviewing these is are there things that the movie is doing that are way above average or excellent, right?
Yeah.
So I think the kill scenes were excellent. I think the dialogue, when it's not terrible, is excellent. The music's fucking terrible.
Music was
but
awful.
some of that's on purpose. Right?
Yeah,
Low shoulders.
yeah.
On purpose. But this movie right now is my favorite end credit sequence in horror.
Yeah. This is probably my favorite ending so far of most
of what we've watched.
Of what we've watched so far.
Yeah, I mean, even the better movies we've watched that we really loved, like Exorcist 3, the ending was a little weakish.
Yeah.
You know, but this ending was like spot fucking on. It was like it paid off everything that you saw, and then so we should explain like the ending. The fight in the pool is great. Right?
Yeah.
And then the fact that it time looped to the so again on the point of horror movies trying to do something that's different. We get a jump scare at the end, but the jump scare's on the monster.
Oh, yeah, that was
right?
good.
Amanda Seyfried breaks into Jennifer's room suddenly through the window, and it's a scare, but the jump scares are always like the demon coming at you, not like the hero coming after the demon, right? But it was shot like a jump scare. So I thought it was really cool that they flipped it, right?
Yeah.
So then they have that battle, and then...
they did that cool slow motion thing at the end
where
when they were both falling. Like,
oh, that was awesome.
They did that a few times.
They did,
like in the hallways and shit like that. And then again when they were introducing Jennifer as like the cheerleader and stuff like that. So
totally.
she was moving all normal, and then everyone was like frozen in the background.
Totally, which was really cool. Actually, now you said that, I remember thinking to myself that like I don't. It's just maybe who made the movie or whatever, but like when Jennifer dropped to the bed and Needy was floating above her. Like Needy's hair was the most amazing hair I've ever seen. It was like a design and tile work or something. Like the way it was. I was just really. I just watched Vertigo, so maybe I have like hair plot points on my mind, but whatever. But then the end, like after that battle, you see Needy levitating in the institution. She storms out. She marches across.
She kicks out because she's a kicker.
Out, right? Oh, that's right. I didn't even catch that. Fuck. That's so good.
Easy.
I'm telling you, payoffs all the way through, right? So she's walking out and she's walking in her bunny slippers, right? Mm-hmm. She runs up to fucking Lance Henriksen, which is amazing. Like that guy can like steal a movie if you give him like 10 seconds of time on a screen. But then I was going to walk away because the credits rolled and you stopped me and you were like, no, something's happening. And then it was the massacre of Low Shoulder.
Oh.
And that was like just the most satisfying. Like,
that was a good.
Because they are the worst. And she's a good demon now, right? Well, I mean, I don't know. Murdering people in mass is probably not good, but
well, no,
it's vengeance.
I don't think she has intent to kill further than that. But that's what I liked about the ending was
she may need to. She may need to feed. I don't know because I don't know, like
Well,
I don't know how far she went.
That's true. It was sort of like that demon had like the werewolf rules where, so maybe she does need to feed. I don't know. She didn't feed that whole time because she was with.
Oh, that's right. She was in prison.
Yeah.
Or I mean, institution or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe she don't know what the fuck. Oh no, actually, you know what she said? The quote from the book. She goes, "What the occult experts don't know is if you get bit from a demon and live,
you get some
of its powers." Right.
So it seems like you get like the good shit.
Right. Oh, cool.
So basically, she turns into a superhero at the end.
Yeah, totally. There were a couple X-Men drops in this movie too.
Yeah, when she cut herself and she healed. Yeah. So if she got that, she got the levitation, she got the super strength. She's ready to fucking rock.
She got good taste in music because she killed Low Shoulder.
Yeah, she killed Low. Thank fucking Christ. She killed Low Shoulder.
We were trying to figure out what the fuck that name even meant. Like, I'm like, what the hell?
And it didn't appear until like the end when it was like the shoulders low and picked her up.
Fucking stupid.
But
I mean, that's totally on purpose. That bend was meant to aggravate us, and they did a great job.
They were annoying and
of aggravating us. But the end credit sequence actually is cut like my favorite opening sequence of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
2004, because it's just flashes of still photos.
And like a little bit of video of them doing blow and
right
and just living the high rock and roll life that they got from Satan. And
that was just a great that was the perfect when Needy gets in the car with Lance Henriksen and he goes. I mean, I swear to God, he's got the same style as like a Sam Elliott or something. Like for from Big Lebowski. Like he's just got that gravelly voice, and she's hitchhiking and he stops and he goes, "Hop in my chariot." It's just I mean, fucking just like perfect. But she gets in and he goes, "Where are you going?" She's like, "I'm following a rock band." And he goes, "It must be a great band." And she's like, "Tonight's going to be their last show." It was just the perfect line to take us out on. You know?
I just loved how it ended, because any other film, we were questioning what the fuck it was until they explained it at the end. We were like, is she a vampire, a zombie, like a witch? Like, we don't know what the fuck she is. But I like the fact that it was a demon, but even more, I like the fact that like it wasn't like paranormal activity or some shit like that, where whenever you get like a demon involved, like horror films are so bad with demons. They're like, once you kill it, it's not really fucking dead. It's always gonna haunt you and all this shit. And I fucking hate that. Like, just end the fucking story.
Yep.
So I like the fact that they did get rid of like Jennifer, who technically had some kind of demon in her, but it changed, like it flipped the script. So instead of it being like, oh, now you got this demonic thing following you around, it's like, hey, well, now you got the good shit.
Right.
And you could, sort of get rid of the assholes in the world. I like that.
I did too. And the last thing for me is, I found it interesting that, how do I phrase this? There's this thing they're doing with Jennifer is the villain.
Yeah.
But from the plot, it doesn't seem like she deserved what she got. So she got in the van. She wasn't a great friend, but Amanda Seyfried thought they were best friends.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like she was so horrible. It's not like she was like, she really thought that her best friend in the world was Jennifer.
Yeah.
So they went to the bar. Everything was fine. They were just friends. And then the bar burns down and Jennifer goes and gets massacred. And then comes back and now she's the bad guy. And I felt bad for her but then I stopped feeling bad for her because they made her such a villain that she was just like the villain. I mean, she was, once she took down Ahmet, like once I saw that went down. So I don't know. But then the weird thing is I couldn't tell if they were trying to tie the bad elements of the pre-killed Jennifer's personality into the demon, or if it was just the demon that was bad and Jennifer that was just sort of like morally questionable. Like I couldn't tell exactly.
I feel like the demon was like, fuck it, you're not a good person.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And but there was like some ambiguity to, when but that's the thing. It's like we didn't even mention this, like the vampire thing now, right? Because like the vampires are notoriously sympathetic, like Bram Stoker's Dracula. I mean, he didn't ask for this blight. He didn't ask for his wife to kill herself. He didn't ask for, I mean, I guess he sort of spited God, right? Like,
yeah,
but like, right, a horrible shit was happening to him. And all of a sudden now he has to feed and right. And that's the thing. And now Jennifer's in the same spot. So it was weird because I didn't feel like they made any effort to make her sympathetic after the bar scene. Like she narrated what happened to her, but there was they didn't film it in a way to make her sympathetic. They filmed it in a way to maximize her villainy. Right?
Yeah. There wasn't a whole lot. I mean, the only time they tried to make her sympathetic was like after she had fed. And then she's like, look, I ate some guts and I'm back to normal. Let me explain to you why I'm doing this.
Right.
And then it went back and forth. But that was the only sort of like glimpse you got.
But she was also making like that. I guess the morality of that is at the end, Needy asks her, like, why Chip? You could have anyone. Why you just eating Chip just to fuck with me?
Yeah.
Like, why, and she is purposely choosing to feed and cause pain to her friend. Right? And the friendship thing is probably the strongest thing in the movie because it was the thing that had the most nuance to it. Right. But that friendship, like at that end where Needy and Jennifer are facing off, like they said some pretty real shit to each other about how.
Yeah.
And she's like, Needy's like, you were never a good friend, right? Like you always, and I thought they were tying it together to the friend thing, but it was just, I don't know, it was really strange to me because Amanda Seyfried is technically the final girl.
Yeah.
But who becomes like a superhero, which is a weird reversal, and then Jennifer is technically the villain, but she came from what should have been like a sympathetic place. So, yeah, it was
A lot of twisting. Of
yeah, it was
what you
it was
normally think would happen.
Right, exactly. I think it was subverting a lot of normal, the way normal horror stuff could go, which I really liked, but also found like kind of confusing at moments. So, but all right, so let's do the ratings.
All right, I ended up really enjoying the movie. I loved the ending, and I like all the humor in it.
So it's at 43% on Rotten Tomatoes,
which I don't think. I can understand why people do it, because like when the dialogue's not funny, it's just kind of weird.
Yes.
And the music kind of sucks.
Yes.
And the fashion back then kind of less than 10
That's
years
not
ago.
their
It's not their fault. It's just like.
But it's annoying.
It is. I mean, but like it's part of the movie. Like that was like that emo late 2000s face.
Actually, Needy's dress was like a
80s fucking.
Yeah, it was like a Carrie call out almost, like weird.
Yeah, it was, but I'm not docking anything for that. I just had to like say it. Okay, so it's at 43%. I don't think that's right. I would say like, because when it's good, it's good. My gut's telling me I don't want to. I feel like I'm gonna give every movie like a 78. It's not an 80. It's not a 71. I would say I'll 76%. I'll go 76%.
All right, I'm gonna blow your mind. 85.
I knew you were gonna do 80.
I thought it was way better than I expected, and I thought there were less flaws than I was expecting too. There were some groaner lines in there, but the weird thing is, I ended up feeling like all the characters were vivid. I feel like if you remember, like I had this test about what do you remember from a movie, right?
Yeah.
We've done this before where it's like you ask a year later after you've watched a movie, and there's movies that you really enjoyed that you remember almost nothing from, right? But I feel like I'm going to remember almost all of these characters. I feel like a year from now, if you came up to me and you said emo kids from Jennifer's Body, I'll know exactly who they are, what you're talking about. If you say J.K. Simmons from Jennifer, I'm gonna like have lines of his in my head instantly. You know what I mean? Like it's going to stick in my memory, which is like my test for a movie that's like doing a really good job. So I think it's a really, really memorable movie. So
You know what? You sold me. Guess what? I'm going to go from 76 to 77%.
Oh, 77 sold.
77%. There you go.
Fantastic.
Easy. Well, if you like this episode and you want to help support the show, head on over to our Patreon page. We really appreciate anything you can do. Really helps out the show. And until then, stay scary, watch a bunch of horror films, and see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.